From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Hump Day, Wednesday, December 6, 2017's edition of For the People. The Middle East, and specifically Jerusalem, is being discussed as we speak, and the Palestinians are not having what Donald Trump is wanting. But it's not just Donald Trump, and I have to kind of broadcast this out about making Jerusalem specifically the capital of Israel. Donald Trump, not the only president. Barack Hussein Obama said emphatically that the Jewish people should emphatically have it and have their way, because this land has been theirs for thousands of years. Okay? Bill Clinton has said it. George W. has said it. George H. has put, multiple presidents have been for it, but they've done nothing to help Israel. And we know for 8 years that Barack Hussein Obama was no friend to the folks in Israel. But America's friends and foes unleashed fierce criticism today ahead of President Donald Trump's announcement regarding Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The harsh global reaction casting a lot of questions about the feasibility of a brewing U.S. peace plan that is expected to be presented by the White House in the near future. Now, the Palestinians seek, folks, the deal is with the Palestinians, they seek East Jerusalem as the capital of a future independent state, and fear that Trump's declaration essentially imposes on them a disastrous solution for one of the core issues in the Palestinian conflict. There is no way that there can be talks with the Americans. The peace process is finished. They have already preempted the outcome, said Palestinian official. Well, they cannot take us for granted. Yeah, and here's where I just have to shut him down. It is the Palestinians that are doing all of this crap with Hamas, being funded by Iran. They hate Israel. They chant death to Israel. Any way that the Jewish state can preserve their race, their independence, whatever they can do to keep one less Palestinian away from them with a bomb, so be it. It's not Jews that are marching into Palestine with grenades and IEDs. It's always the Palestinians that are blowing themselves up in cafes in Tel Aviv and elsewhere. I am for this completely 100%. The threats that this is going to unleash holy hell, basically this is what they've been doing for years anyway. So you better believe security will be upped, but it further reiterates that there's no peace between the two. They've been fighting for thousands of years. Now, as the Christian, the Bible says, and God himself said, that Jerusalem's his footstool. So why can't it be the Jews? Why can't it be their capital? It's their land. And it's been that way for many years, so finally they're just going to do it. Most of their, by the way, government offices and facilities are already there. They're already operating out of Jerusalem as if it was already a done deal. It's just finally, it's solidified on the books as being such. It belongs to them anyway. It's not a ground contest. It's not the Gaza. It's not the Golan Heights. It's not what they have asked for all these years. It has nothing to do with that. But it just shows you but we're going to talk with Muslim officials, and we're going to get them all together here and get them all riled up here. Say the U.S. decision destroys the peace process. That's a clear statement. It destroys the peace process. U.S. officials said late Thursday that Trump will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, despite intense Arab, Muslim, and European opposition to a move that will upend decades of U.S. policy and risk potentially violent protest. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Facebook that our historical national identity is receiving important expressions every day. He said that he would comment further later in the day. Other members of his cabinet were more forthcoming. Education Minister Nathaniel Bennett said that head of the Nationalist Jews Home Party praised what he called Trump's bold and yet natural move. The sooner the Arab world recognizes Jerusalem as our capital, the sooner we will reach real peace. Real peace that is not predicted on an illusion that we are going to cave or carve up Jerusalem in some way and carve up Israel, Bennett told the Associated Press on the sidelines of the Jerusalem post-diplomatic conference. And considering how small Israel is, folks, size of New Jersey, if you've ever been there, it's not very big. But that's what the Palestinians carve up Israel. Carve it up, give us some space. It's not your land. Carve it up. Dole it out. These people are smoking something over there. They want them to give it up to make them more unsafe. Make it easier for Palestinians and Hamas, being funded by Iran, to kill more Jews. No, thank you. Now, this is irritating, folks, what I'm about to tell you. And I don't want to offend any Catholics because there's a lot of them. But Pope Francis, this Pope, I got to tell you, is he's no John Paul. He's progressive. He definitely falls under the line of progressiveness. It's a very interesting time for the Catholic Church. Let's just say that. I am definitely not happy with the Pope's comments, meddling in things that he shouldn't meddle in, and things that he talks about he shouldn't be talking about. And before we go on to what he had just said about Trump's decision here and the Palestinians and Jerusalem and such, is about the wall deal. Remember he meddled about the walls? About not building a wall, but building bridges. That's his advice to Donald Trump about our problems at the border. You didn't see him going and paying homage to the Steinle family or to the dozens and dozens of families that have lost loved ones from DUIs, and the tens of thousands of Americans have died from drugs from Mexico. But anyway, that's another conversation, I guess. But he didn't mention his walls at the Vatican. ISIS is trying to kill him. ISIS wants to kill the Pope. But he's behind walls. It's the very walls that protect him. And guns that protect the Pope. The pontiff, yes, they have security detail, they have guns. And they will shoot you if you try to get close to the Pope. It's so ridiculous when you get pontiffs like this that weigh in on stuff they're way over their head about, and they should really concentrate their effort and energy on other things other than criticizing the Jews for trying to preserve their way of life, to preserve their dear country. So Pope Francis said that he was profoundly concerned and appalled that everyone respect the status quo of the city. China, which has good ties with Israel, and the Palestinians expressed concern over possible aggression or regional tensions. Two leading Lebanese newspapers published front-page rebukes of Trump. Britain Foreign Minister Boris Johnson, who had already expressed concern about the U.S. decision on Wednesday, said it was now time for the Americans to present their peace plan for the region. Thanks for dictating what we should do. Another country. Thanks, Boris Johnson. Thanks for your concern, but we're not going to just roll it out ASAP because you said so. It'll be revealed. It'll come out, but thank you. Trump's Mideast teams, led by his advisors and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, have really spent months meeting with Israeli and Palestinian Arab leaders, detailing their long-awaited plan, and it has been a mystery as of how Donald Trump is going to pull this one off. But according to insiders that I have spoken to, and to many of the talking heads that study Middle Eastern policy, is that Donald Trump has got a deal-making strategy to bring these two together. And I believe that declaring what's already really more or less done deal is that the reason that the Palestinians don't like it is because they have other plans for Jerusalem. And it's not to benefit the Jewish people. It's to benefit Palestine. And ladies and gentlemen, I got to ask you this. How has Palestine benefited Israel instead of bloodshed and death and carnage and heartache and misery? Again, it's not Jews blowing themselves up over in Palestine. It's not that happening. Let's wake up, folks. A lot of logistical security detail regarding all of the particulars around this move, but they're going to step up security. They noted that almost all of Israel's government agencies and parliament are in Jerusalem, rather than Tel Aviv, where the U.S. and other countries maintain embassies. It's true. Almost all of Israel's government agencies and parliament are in Jerusalem. So this declaration of Jerusalem as Israel's capital carried deep symbolic significance and could have dangerous consequences. The competing claims to East Jerusalem, the section of the cities captured by Israel in 1967, have frequently boiled over into deadly violence over the years. We all know this. East Jerusalem is home to the city's most sensitive Jewish, Muslim, and Christian holy sites, as well as 330,000 Palestinian residents. 330,000 Palestinian, but they don't own it. It's not theirs. Now, the United States has never endorsed the Jewish state's claim of sovereignty over any part of Jerusalem and has insisted its status be resolved through Israeli-Palestinian negotiation. So there's more consideration of Trump changing the status quo sparked a renewed U.S. security warning on Tuesday, just yesterday. Trump, as a presidential candidate, repeatedly promised to move the U.S. embassy. However, U.S. leaders have routinely and unceremoniously delayed such a move, such as President Bill Clinton signed a law in 1995 stipulating that the United States must relocate its diplomatic presence to Jerusalem unless the commander-in-chief issues a waiver on national security grounds. But Obama differently recognized the sovereignty of Jerusalem in word, but nothing was carried out in deed, as well as George W. So this has always been contested. This has been a big, huge, it's a huge deal, and may need a huge Donald Trump in the mix to be able to come up with some kind of peace plan. Because if he can do this, believe me, he will be revered for thousands of years afterwards if he can bring peace to the Middle East. I mean, it's a bloodbath over there. It's been a bloodbath. It's been terrible over there. What did Paul Harvey say? All the Middle East is quicksand. Stay out. Paul Harvey, the late news commentator, that's what he said about the Middle East. Smart man. But the thing is, we have such a great relationship and have had one